Hey Run Junkies, welcome back to the Journey to Triathlon series. And now that we have talked about all three of the disciplines within triathlon, the swim, the bike, and the run, let's talk about how to get from one to the other in transition. Today, let's talk about how we can move easily and quickly from the swim to the bike and the bike to the run. Let's start out with the transition area or zone. This is where all of the athletes participating in the race will bring and store their equipment for the duration of the race. Way early in the morning and a lot earlier than you really want to think about, you will schlep in all of your gear, your bike, your helmet, your wetsuits. Everything goes into transition before the race starts. When you bring everything in, you set your bike up on a rack and you lay out all of your gear underneath it. So when you set up your bike on the rack, you have about as much room underneath that as a small towel. And I do recommend you bringing a towel for a couple of reasons. Your feet will be wet before you put on your socks and shoes, and it's a nice way to claim your space underneath your bike. For details on what you want to bring into transition, I've left a short list of gear in the description below, but I've also elaborated on some of these gear tips in this playlist right here in the first few videos of this series. The transition zone is basically your home base. This is where you regroup in between each sport during the race. It is stanchioned off, it is gated off, and only athletes with bibs are allowed in and out of this area during the race. And there are 4 areas where you can get in and out: the swim in, the bike out, the bike in, and the run out. And after the race, you will be required to match your bib number to the number on your bike. Volunteers will not allow you to bring out a bike that isn't yours. They're there to make sure that nobody walks off with your bike. Now, as I said, early in the morning, you are bringing all of your gear in to set up, but you're not allowed to just hang out in there. At a certain point, they will close transition to all participants, meaning that you have to have all of your gear in and set up and you ready to go down to the swim start before they close transition. And then unless you are in and out during your transition from one sport to another, you are not allowed back in to transition until all participants have completed their bike to run transition. This is just to avoid overcrowding and traffic in transition. When you have a lot of people running to grab their bike and bring that out or bring it back in, it can get a little crazy, especially when people are moving quickly. So it's really just traffic control to keep people out of the way until the race is basically over. And when all of those participants have gone out on the run, then you can go back and get your gear. Like I said, you have to have your bib match the number on your bike. Now let's talk through a typical race. Here's how this works. You will start in the water and you will be kicked out of transition because transition will close before you head down to the swim start. So you will be wearing your swimsuit or maybe a trisuit. You might have a wetsuit on and you will have your cap and goggles. Now, what about your race number? No, you do not wear your bib into the water under your wetsuit or what have you. Instead, triathlon's kind of fun in that they have body marking. Volunteers will take Sharpie markers and they will write your number on your upper arm and on the back of your left calf. Many races will also have your age written on the back of the other calf. Now, how is the race timed? Well, you get a timing chip that is attached to a neoprene strap. You wear that strap around your ankle for the duration of the race. You put it on before the race and a volunteer will take it off when you cross the finish line. Timing mats are laid out throughout the course at minimum in the following places. You have one at the swim start and the swim finish, then the bike start and the bike finish, then the run start and the ultimate finish line. That means your race splits will at minimum look like this. You will have a swim time, a T1, which is the swim to bike transition, a bike time, a T2, which is bike to run transition, and a run time. Depending on the length of the race, you may have more timing mats throughout the course, perhaps a couple out on the run course and a couple out on the bike course, but those are your basic timing splits. Okay, now that you are set up for the swim, you wanna make sure you're ready for the bike. After you come out of the water, you will ditch all of your swim gear, wetsuit, cap, goggles, ditch all of that and grab your bike and all of that gear. So your bike, you need your helmet on and clipped. Your hydration should already be on your bike. You want sunglasses, socks, shoes, and whatever other clothing you might want to add. And now at this point, you might think about your bib. Obviously, you have your number written on your upper arm, but you might also need your bib as well. You can pin a bib to your shirt and just put the shirt on, or you can add it to a bib belt. And I prefer the bib belt. It just clips around your waist, and I like having the bib belt because I can pull the bib to my back so it stays out of the way when I'm riding the bike. You might also want a bottle of sunscreen. You can do the lotion, but the spray stuff is a lot faster. Keep that in transition. And as I said before, a small towel so you can dry off your feet really fast before you put your socks on after the swim. A couple of fun things about the T1 transition, or the swim to bike. So you've been in the water, it's probably kind of cold, you've been in a prone position, your heart rate's up, you've been exerting yourself. So what we're gonna have you do is stand up and run uphill into transition. Lightheadedness is definitely a thing here. So maybe take your time, think about it. Your body is gonna be kind of going, oh my gosh, what just happened? But maybe you'll be glad that the swim is over. I think this is probably one of my favorite things about the T1 transition. If you are wearing a wetsuit, they have a thing, and I'm not kidding about this, many races will have a thing called wetsuit strippers. Wetsuit strippers, yes. Okay, here's how this works. So as you come out of the water, you're gonna unzip your wetsuit and pull it down around your waist. Then the volunteers will work in teams. One volunteer, maybe two, will hold onto your arms. You're gonna lay down on the ground, stick your feet up in the air, while another volunteer basically yanks your wetsuit off of your legs. I'm not kidding. This is a thing, and it's probably the funniest thing to watch. But they hand you your wetsuit and you're on your way. You don't have to worry about fighting to get out of your wetsuit. It may sound crazy, but it is a real thing and it works. Okay, like I said, you drop your cap, goggles, wetsuit, and you grab everything you need for the bike, and then you go out for a bike ride. Now remember, you have to have your helmet buckled, and you cannot ride out of transition. You have to walk or lightly jog your bike out of transition, and then the volunteers will direct you to the mount line. It's at that point you can get on your bike, then you go for a ride. Now, it is a little cold at first because you're wet, right? So you're out and the wind is blowing past you, but that's why so many triathlons are during the summer. It will be kind of chilly at first, but you will warm up quickly. Okay, so you're coming back from your ride and you're nearing transition T2, the bike to run transition. As with the bike coming out, you have to have dismounted by a certain point before you enter transition. Again, we don't ride the bike in transition. We dismount and we walk or run the bike in. You set your bike on the rack, you leave your helmet, you change your shoes, and if you're not already wearing your bib, you need to put it on at this point. Now this is where those brick workouts, the bike to run transition workouts, that's where they really pay off, because this is where you feel it. You head out for your run, then you come back and you cross the finish line. Now a couple of things you might want is extras in transition. Another small towel, maybe some kind of chamois towel to dry you off very quickly. And if you have friends or family that are coming to spectate, maybe leave a change of clothes or something with them if you can't get into transition right away. It can be very cold after a race, so you might want to have a set of warm-ups or a change of clothes. Otherwise, you can leave that stuff in transition, but because race starts are so early, you might want to have those warm-ups on you when you arrive at the race. Take them off right before you head down to the swim start, and then when you're done with the race, you can put those warm-ups back on. The early mornings can be chilly, and after all of that effort, post-race, you can get pretty chilled as well. The bottom line is this: transition can be the most complicated because you have to organize each sport very carefully, but it takes the least amount of time overall in your race. For your first triathlon though, take your time through transition. It's just best to make sure you have everything you need before you dash out. So take your time and enjoy the process. To me, it's one of the most fun things about triathlon because it's what makes the sport so unique. My question for you today is this: what do you think of the wetsuit stripper concept? But but keep it clean. Please leave thoughts, questions, comments, and suggestions in the comment section down below. Hit that thumbs up if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. In the month of June, we are gonna revisit all 3 sports. We're gonna talk about training specifics, maybe some added gear you might want to use during your training, and some of the different workouts you can do as you're getting started in triathlon. I have one more announcement before I go today. Yes, the podcast is launching this Thursday, May 30th. So please stay tuned to this channel for the official announcement, and the links will be coming to you as well. I am so excited to start this project with my very good friend Jen Sorensen. So please stay tuned. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. That's gonna be it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Until I see you next time, go find your awesome and happy running.